in the company of the Guru. Swami Durgananda is holding her last event ever at St. Joseph's Hall. Tickets are available for purchase on www.teachingsofsamatha.com. The link is in the description below. See you there.
Welcome to the world of Samata Samashti Dharma, the teachings of Samta. We're here today with our beloved Guru Swami Durgananda and Joe to discuss the topic of origins and practices of meditation, questions and answers, and mini workshop.
Good morning, Swami. How are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. It's been a while since we've caught up.
It has.
Can I just touch base on a couple of things? With the origins and practices of meditation, my first question that came to me was, what inspired you to write that book?
I think one of the things that inspired me was I was going through cancer myself at the time, so I thought, and I was using meditation, and I thought a lot of people don't realise the depth of meditation, what it can do for you. You know, it's not only, in Samta we teach transcendental meditation, that is a meditation that goes beyond normal consciousness and takes you through all the states of consciousness. But also I think you can have outward meditation, you can have a meditation that's a meditation that can give you energy, a meditation that can be healing. So I thought all this should actually be written down in case anybody else is in that kind of predicament, really.
So from your experience going through cancer, how did the meditation actually strengthen you, or how did it give you courage to keep going through it and fighting it? Because a lot of people hear the word cancer and the first thing they think of is, I'm going to die. So how did you kind of work through that? Because a lot of people could be in similar situations, and sometimes you need that belief of something to get you through that. So how did you manage it?
I think practice what you preach. I actually
Nice.
have taught that a lot. And I thought, well, now put it into action. And yes, I was able to. I had 2 cancers. One was very aggressive and one was slow acting, or whatever they called it, the surgeon. And he didn't think that I would get through the operation. And the anaesthetist and we had great big chats in the operating theatre until he told me he was going to strap me up and turn me upside down. I said, well, okay, now enough's enough. I don't want to know anymore. But in the meantime, I had about 2 weeks where, they thought you won't talk anymore if you do get through this. But when he started to remove the tumours, he said they came away too quickly. And he knew the cancer in it had gone, but the tumours were still there. So I think I write about it in the book so that people will know. I thought maybe if I had more time, but maybe in the scheme of things I didn't have more time. And I tell you how to do it. I did tell the surgeon that I will hemorrhage. And he said, no one hemorrhages. Like, no, you won't. I said, yeah, I will. So, and I did.
Jeez.
When he left me, I was in intensive care, and he caught the lift downstairs with my husband, and he said, oh, I didn't think she was going to make that last operation I had today. It was really bad. They were chatting. And his phone rang, and he said, oh, I've got to go. And he raced straight up. And
That was you hemorrhaging at that stage?
Yeah.
That was you hemorrhaging, so he had to go back up?
Yeah, I sort of told you.
Wow. With the possibility of not being able to speak after the operation, when they told you that might be a possibility, what was your first reaction? Because we're all human, so what was your first reaction?
I thought, well, that'll be something for me not to be able to talk, because I do talk a lot. I even talk to myself. So I thought to myself, yeah, but if God wills, God wills.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that.
So what excited you the most when you wrote the book?
Oh, I think that I was going to be able to tell people there's more to this meditation than sitting, cross-legged and thinking of nothing. It's such a useful tool. It's a useful tool for stress, for healing, for stamina, for absolutely everything, I think, yeah.
So touching on, because of the cancer issue, just touching on the healing side, obviously you did everything, because in my mind I'm putting a disclaimer in there, that obviously you went through all the processes of doctors and surgeons and specialists and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But the icing on the cake was for you, focusing on the meditation and realising you knew how powerful it was anyway, but being able to say, you know what, this is what I believe, and then I've practiced it, and now I've actually come through the other side. So that's probably a good lesson in itself on the meditation side, that with healing and the right meditation and really working through it and digging deeper, that you can actually work through something that most people, they set in their mind, okay, this is not going to happen, I'm going to die because I've got this X, Y, Z cancer, and they basically give up straight away. But you went the opposite way. You basically attacked it with what you knew.
Yeah, well, you can't give up.
That's good. That's
Not
good.
at all.
What message or messages do you want to share with the world or your listeners and your listeners when you reflect on origins and practices of meditation?
When I had that experience, I had ground knowledge. I had the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, you've got to have the knowledge. You can't just say, I'm going to heal that and that's it. That doesn't work. You have to have the knowledge of how to do it, how to go about it. And I hope that that's in the book. I mean, I think I talk in the book about stress. I talk about healing. I talk about how to use the breath to get the energy back. And what I've written in the book also is a little bit of an intro on Patanjali, because Patanjali, of course, is the Ashtanga yoga, and that is where all yogas, have their origins really in this Patanjali's teachings and the Vedas, because that's all linked together. So I thought if I wrote a bit about that and a bit about Patanjali, then people would research it and go into it to see how it fits for them, how good it is for them.
So you basically, the way I'm hearing it, Swami, is you're comfortable with them challenging you by doing their own research on a book you've written.
Oh God, yes, you can't believe everything.
I agree.
You have to research it for yourself.
Yes.
And I don't teach what I haven't gone through. So,
Exactly.
What I haven't experienced myself, I don't teach that, because why should I mouth something that hasn't really happened to me? That would be totally wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You used the word grounded before, or ground. When you were talking about the meditation, you had ground knowledge, I think was the words you used. Why use the word ground?
I think to me that would be the real essence, essence of everything.
Yeah, because I always think, your foundation's got to be on solid ground, that type
absolutely.
of stuff. So
Absolutely.
that's where I kind of was thinking that's where the word ground may have come from, but I didn't write the book.
Yeah. I also wrote in the book about some herbs and spices, or more spices, I think, than herbs. And there is a whole little blurb on that, and I think adding those, I was just talking to my daughter the other day, who told me that, Mum, all those spices that you use, they're really, really health-giving spices, aren't they? They're all for a reason.
Yeah. I think they are too.
So someone was listening to me. But they're for a reason in there, and they're really good. They're really healing. And I use all of them, and I think if you add them to your food, all this helps. You don't have to be a vegetarian to meditate, but it helps if you are a couple of days a week. You don't
Yeah, that makes
meat.
sense.
But you have to be careful. If you become a Western vegetarian, you miss out on that B12 and a lot of essential vitamins that you have to be careful of. But if you always remember, if you have a grain, you have a lentil. You know, lentil and grain together.
Together.
You can't have one and not the other.
So with these spices, Swami, what's the first spice that comes into your head, and what's the healing powers of that spice? So for example, if it's garlic or if it's turmeric or if it's whatever, what type of spices?
Well, if I'm feeling a cold coming on
Yes.
and I'm not well, I chop fresh garlic up and eat it.
Oh, nice. So I really should throw away the whiskey then.
Yeah. And I've had a gut parasite that I got.
Travelling?
Yes. And they had to send to America to find out exactly what sort of one it was. It was a very powerful one, which was eating my insides.
Jeez.
And I went on this, I thought nothing had helped it. So I went on, and I think I wrote that in the book too, so I went on a ginger and garlic, and I ate it all the time.
Wow.
And my husband said, I can't smell any garlic on you. What's the matter? You're not. And I said, no, it's doing its job.
It's doing its job.
Because if it's doing its job, you won't smell it.
Ah.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. As soon as I said to him, as soon as you smell me, I've done it.
Yep.
And one day, I think I wrote how long I'd done it for, and he said, I can smell garlic everywhere now. Oh, it's really bad. And I knew that then
Yep.
it had happened. So I had another
work.
test and it had gone.
Oh, wow.
Totally, yeah.
Geez, that's good to know.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is change tacks a bit and focus on a little mini workshop you've got in your book, because I think people that don't have the book should actually start looking at purchasing your products, at least to study more, or to question, or to challenge, or to research,
Absolutely.
or to grow. So
Yeah.
I think,
All the above.
and what I've picked is a mini workshop, and there's 6 questions. I'd like to ask you those questions, and I'd like you to give people an insight on, not so much the answers, because every answer is going to be different, but I think each question that I read out might start giving them an opportunity to actually look within. So the first question I've got for you is, how do you switch off when you return from the workplace? Because most people do work, or they've got whether it's not work or it might be charity work they're doing or whatever. So how do you switch off when you return from the workplace is the first question.
You work from home, Joe, so you can't really switch off, can you?
Me personally, you're right, Swami, but I love what I do. So for me, it's probably it's a motivation in itself, or it's
a lot of people like, their job is who they are. That's it. And they can't switch off. But, it's interesting because, I'm in my 80s, so I've seen all this before. People are just in their job and that's who they are. They're the chairman, or they're the boss, or they're whatever. And when they retire, they're nothing. Everything goes away. All the perks, everything, the title, everything. So what have they got then? Not much.
Can I ask that question? History tells us when someone's done a job for 40 years and they retire at 65, some of them are gone before 70. They've passed away, because what you've just said makes a lot of sense to me. That's one part of the sum of all, so to speak, is your job. But if you've got nothing else other than your job, see, for me, my relaxation is walking the dog. So I get out in nature, so to speak,
good.
and I walk the dog. So that's when and the dog always needs walking anyway. But what you're saying is there's some people that do enjoy their job.
When you come home is to walk barefoot in the grass. If you walk barefoot in the grass has a healing. It's earthing. It's alive.
That's true. So people have got, even if it's a backyard or front yard, they could just take off their shoes and socks and just spend 5-10 minutes just feeling nature under their feet.
Yeah.
Is that like for the one getting back to the healing side, that can be a healing property as well, can't it?
Absolutely, can.
That's good. This is good, Swami.
Or you can go and jump in the sea, but the sand's dead. It doesn't have the same life force as grass. Somebody asked me, yes, but I walk in the sand. Well, the sand's dead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the grass is always, it's alive.
Yeah.
It's growing, it's
living.
Yep. So this is an interesting question. When was the last time you had a medical checkup regarding supplements?
Well, a lot of people take a lot of supplements that are no good at all. I've had that in all the years that I've been teaching, and that's going on 55 years now. People say, oh yes, but I'm taking this supplement and this supplement and this supplement. So what else should I take, Swami? Well, I thought, don't ask me, ask the doctor. But if supplements, and if you eat well and sleep, you have just not too much stress in your life. You need a bit of stress, but not too much. You don't need supplements. But the only time you need supplements is if you go to the doctor and have a blood test and find out, are you low in B, or, am I intolerant to this or that?
That's good advice, actually. Going to a doctor and say, where do I need help?
Yeah.
Because some of it might be natural. It might be, if you have more fruit and vegetables, for example, you're going to get strength in this area. Or you definitely need a supplement because there's not many foods in the Western society that will be able to complement getting stronger. So you're probably looking at a supplement in that case. But the last thing, and I'm going to crack a sick joke, but the last thing you want to do is get shaken up and sound like, or feel like you're a box of Tic Tacs, because there's that many powders and potions and drugs and tablets going through your system, where I don't think it can be good for you if you're not focusing on the natural way of doing things, if you can. The next question, obviously we haven't read the whole chapter, so I don't know if this is going to be a relevant question, but how would you take this chapter into your daily life?
Well, you can take it to work with you. Don't be extreme. My husband used to have a board meeting, go to sleep. He said he was meditating, but I always thought he's probably been asleep.
Do you remember the issues after the meeting? Because if he did,
he just said they talk a lot about nothing anyway.
Yeah.
So, and when they'd all finished talking, he just said, we'll do it this way, blah, 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 and that was that. I have a habit of doing that as well.
That's not a bad thing, because it cuts through all the what I would call the red tape. Because people can have meetings and talk for an hour.
And nothing.
When it's a 5-minute meeting, yeah.
I think you have to think about, now, you could walk to work or walk a certain amount of the way to work. You could, in your lunch hour, stop for lunch, have a walk. Walking is so good. It's good for the digestion. It's good for the whole psyche. Just to get out there and take deep breaths of fresh air.
At what point, Swami, would a walk be beneficial? Like a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk?
Doesn't matter.
So just getting out and walking?
Yeah.
That's good. How would you maintain, the next question obviously after, how will you take this chapter into your daily life? How will you maintain it? So I know these questions are actually for people that are actually doing a course with you. So you're asking them the question. Yeah. So how would you maintain it?
Actually, that's for them to do on themselves and form a journal. But how they would maintain it is discipline again, discipline with yourself. It's like you're putting a deposit on old age,
That's a really nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because the more you do when you're younger,
yeah,
you can keep going when you're older versus saying, okay, I'm 80 now, I think I should start walking. And you're hunched over, you basically are struggling to walk anyway because you've never maintained yourself beforehand.
That's right.
What impact could this have on your evolution on a soul level? So that's obviously a deeper question here.
It's a deeper question for you to answer yourself privately. But of course it can. If you can do anything you can do for your evolution, from my point of view, is amazing. It's fantastic.
That's
But
good.
people forget so quickly. That's the problem.
They get into...
And go back into their safe zone.
Yeah, they say to break a habit, you've got to do something for 21 days.
Yeah, 3 weeks to make and 3 weeks to break.
To break. And people get into that routine for 2 or 3 days and they think, oh, that's good, I'm going to the gym, or I'm going for a jog, or I'm going for a walk. And then, day 3 it's raining, oh no, I'll leave it till tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, it's easier to break because they haven't actually got into that habit.
And it's lovely to walk in the rain.
Oh yeah, it is. Most people run in the rain. But a friend of mine many years ago, he was in the army, and his comment was, we were all running. I was in real estate at the time. We were all running towards each house because we didn't want to get wet. And Bob just walked straight. He goes, sign of panic. When you're running, it's a sign of panic.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rain.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always stuck in my mind. And that was 35 years ago.
There you are.
So what you're saying is spot on.
Mm-hmm.
The last one here, write your goals for the coming 12 months. Obviously, that's a personal thing.
Yes.
But can you break that down for us? What type of goals? Could they be work? Could they be spiritual? Could they be academic? Going back to learning something? Could they
could be
meditation?
Any of those, really. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but some part of it should be meditation, I think.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So they don't have the book at the moment. The meditation with these questions, can we put that on the podcast so people can write them down and actually start working through them themselves for the next 12 months?
You'd be better off with the book so you could read the chapter.
Oh, definitely, because then they'd understand more about it by reading the chapter.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking for people to get started, if they're ordering the book, for example, it gives them a chance to start on something.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
Beautiful.
That's fine. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Swami. I think we'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
In the company of the Guru, Swami Durgananda is holding her last event ever at St. Joseph's Hall. Tickets are available for purchase on www.teachingsofsamatha.com. The link is in the description below. See you there.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of the Teachings of Samatha. For further information regarding these teachings with Swami Durgananda and her products, please check out the website below. To follow on with this journey, please subscribe for more.